final minute. Bennett for the pocket. Launches to the end zone. Touchdown. A.D. Mitchell.
Chase McGrath for the win for the Volunteers. From 40. On the way, knuckleball. He got it.
The college football season is dwindling close to an end right now. It is sad to see, but with November comes the drama, comes the chaos, and I don't think we've seen it yet. I am Colin Bashnigel here. You can find me on TikTok, Bash's CFB Show. And let's make sure we comment, like, and subscribe down below, but also check out the TikTok and talk with me there, because opinion plus discussion equals community. Trying to build a college football community over here. Help me build it. All right, this is the top 25 that we're dealing with here. Ohio State comes back at number 1. I don't think Ohio State's the best team in America. I think that it's very flawed to put Ohio State at number 1 at this moment in time. Georgia, number 2. I think they should be number 1 until they lose a game. I know a lot of people don't believe the same thing because of the fact that Georgia doesn't look as good as they did the past couple of years, but when a team is a 2-time defending champ, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, one time I'm not going to, like Florida State 2014, clearly they weren't as dominant and as good as the year before, and Georgia is not as good or dominant as the prior 2 years. But this is still a program that is winning at a pretty solid clip right now, looking pretty good. I think they deserve number 1 until they lose. Michigan, number 3. A lot of people think they look like the most impressive team in America. They'll get their first test against Penn State. We got Florida State 4, Washington 5. Florida State struggled a bit against Pitt. I think we got to definitely factor in the fact that Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman didn't play. But you still got to pull that one out a little bit cleaner. Number 5, Washington. They've also had some struggles, so I get it. They just have the better win, because one team beat the number 19 team in the country and the other one beat number 6 Oregon. And number 6 Oregon, to me, is the best one-loss team. You watch them, and I'm sorry, nobody is playing a better brand of complete football out of the one-loss teams outside of Oregon. I get the resume argument that everybody's trying to bring up, especially when it comes to Texas. But must you not forget that Texas went into overtime last week against K-State and probably should have lost. They've had some games where they did not look good. They were tied 10-10 in the fourth quarter with Wyoming. This isn't a Texas team that is flawless when it comes to resume, and this is an Oregon team that hasn't really struggled. They beat the crap out of number 18 Utah. They did beat Texas Tech on the road, but it was very close, and that's what a lot of people are knifing at. Let's keep in mind that we factor in injuries, and Texas Tech sputtered when Tyler Shuck got hurt. I know they were losing before that, and I know they lost to Wyoming in week 1, speaking of Wyoming. But this was a much better Texas Tech team in week 2 than they were in the middle of the year, and now Texas Tech is back finding their groove a little bit if you pay attention to them. So I'm totally understandable, and I agree with Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8, Ole Miss 9. I'm fine with it. I would probably flip-flop Penn State, Ole Miss. It doesn't really matter, though. Ole Miss doesn't have that strong of a win on their resume. Their best win right now is number 19 LSU. That's all I'm going to say about that. Penn State doesn't have a strong win on their resume. Their strongest win is the out-of-conference win against West Virginia, but they have won by multiple scores against everybody but Indiana that they have beaten outside of Ohio State. So this Penn State team has found ways to pull away. Number 11, Louisville, props to them for being one loss this deep. Even if that's a really bad one loss, they're the lowest ranked one-loss team. There's not much else you can do. Number 12, Oregon State. I think they're a solid team. Arizona beat them a couple weeks ago. Arizona's on fire. Their defense is really playing well, too. Arizona, they're ranked at number 21. I don't want to gloss over them when we get over there, but I'm just, I guess, going to address them now. Like them being ranked, I'm happy to see them ranked. They're ignoring the head-to-head a little bit with USC, but they're clearly saying that The gap between Arizona and USC at this very moment isn't big. And also, if you're going to ignore a head-to-head situation, a double overtime game on the road for Arizona is something that you can ignore. So number 13 and 14, they play this week, Tennessee and Missouri. Excited to see that matchup. Missouri looked good in the loss against Georgia for sure. Tennessee needs that statement win still, their biggest win of the year thus far. Probably, if you look through their schedule, I can't think of a bigger win outside of Texas A&M. I'm having a hard time thinking of it. If you could think of it, let me know down below in the comments. Number 15, we got Oklahoma State. Number 16, Kansas, who was beaten by Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State was ranked one spot below Kansas just a week ago. And then number 17, Oklahoma, who lost to number 15 and 16 respectively. Number 18, we got Utah here with the playoff rankings. That's a good ranking for Utah, in my opinion. Number 19, LSU. This offense is electric. I feel like they were kind of on fire and they ran into a really good defense. Number 20, Notre Dame. They're still a really good team. A lot of people might have expected them to fall a little bit farther. They're still a good team just because they go on the road to Clemson and lose. Now, the way that they did it, I don't like their coaching staff. I don't like Jared Parker, and I don't like Marcus Freeman as the head coach. Number 21, Arizona. We talked about them. Number 22, Iowa. Despite the no offense, they're 7-2 right now, finding ways to win football games 10-7 in Wrigley Field against Northwestern. Number 23, Tulane. Number 24, North Carolina, and number 25, K-State to round up the top 25. A notable omission is James Madison because they are ineligible as it currently stands, but they are continuing to try to fight the NCAA to get them eligible because I'd be curious to see where James Madison would fall. They have a Power 5 victory. They're undefeated right now, and Tulane is not. I'm curious to see where James Madison would fall in the pecking order if the NCAA makes them eligible, and it also would change everything when it comes to the Sun Belt East. It would make it from chaotic to sealed up in a second. So that's an interesting omission. So here's my top 25. We're going to go over it. I considered Air Force, Fresno State, Rutgers. Rutgers is looking good. I don't just put them there because of Ohio State, and we'll talk about that top 5 here once we get off of this. USC, Iowa, and Arizona. So this top 5, this is how I have the undefeateds laid out. Let's put it this way. Georgia with a big-time win. Michigan with big-time dominance. Washington with the biggest win in college football to date. Florida State looking efficient on offense most weeks, and their defense has been up and down, but for the most part, they've been up. And then there's Ohio State. They just need better quarterback play, and at the end of the day, that's the big tiebreaker here. I don't know why that flickered. Hopefully we're still going. That's the big tiebreaker here. Ohio State's quarterback play is terrible, and the rest of the 4 are getting pretty good quarterback play. That's the big tiebreaker. There's not much margin to me between really 2 to 5, and then the margin for Georgia is the fact that they're defending champs, and I'm not going to consider moving them off. But 2 to 5, the margin between Ohio State and the rest of that 3 is the quarterback spot. Now, that defense is much better than what Washington and Florida State's trotting out there, and it might be better than what Michigan's trotting out there, but only time will tell. They will have a chance against Michigan, and that's why it doesn't matter if Ohio State's ranked 1, 5, 25, doesn't matter. If Ohio State just takes care of their business, they're going to be fine. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Texas. Number 8, Alabama. I just flip-flop Penn State and Ole Miss because I just think Penn State's a better team than Ole Miss. But that would be a fun bowl matchup if we get that. Number 11, Louisville, same spot. Number 12, Oregon State, similar spot. I do have Missouri a couple spots above Tennessee. Oklahoma State, very impressed by their resurgence ever since Ollie Gordon became the starting running back. Tennessee, still not overly impressed with Tennessee, but we'll see what ends up happening. They were pretty impressive in the first half against Alabama, but, man, they collapsed. Kansas has been my darling all year long. 7-2 now. The over-under win total of 6 has hit the over. I'm proud of them, making me look smart with a backup quarterback at that all season. 17, Oklahoma, sputtering a little bit. I'm hoping they can get back some of the magic that they had early on in the season. 18, Utah, 19, LSU, 22, Lane, 21, James Madison. That is very tight to me. 22, Liberty. The problem I have with Liberty not getting respect, is they've been pretty dominant most games, and it's kind of hard to be dominant. And that's where you've seen them sputter at times, like against MTSU. That defense was just terrible against Middle Tennessee, but that offense put up points. And they've been able to win games in multiple different ways, and they're probably going to go 12-0 through the regular season. Number 23, Notre Dame, still ranked for me. Number 24, Kansas State. And how about this? Number 25, West Virginia. Let's not forget that they started out the season, I believe, like 2-2 or whatever it was. And their only loss since was to Kansas State when Kansas State was playing their best ball. I really like what this West Virginia team has been able to do. Their offense looks spectacular at home against BYU on Saturday. So I really like what West Virginia brings to the table. So overall, that's my top 25. Just a quick short video to help recap the playoff top 25 and give you mine. So make sure you guys tune in to the weekly preview. I'll have more updates on the Michigan news if that comes out here in more bulk, and I can come to cleaner conclusions than what I have now, because I'm a little bit confused about all of the things going on in the moving parts. So be on the lookout for more videos. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate it. We'll see.